Boker Tov, Shavua Tov. Today's daf is daf Kuf Ches Baba Kama from the 18th line. Boy Ravina, as we learned for Achim Kol Beis Yisrael and Asur Matzar V'Shivya, and for the Chayal Ma'oz ben Barda Vora. Barda Tvora, yeah. Boy Ravina, the 18th line. Boy Ravina. Now, what have we learned till now? That a couple of things about kefil. When do you pay kefil? Either when you acquired something through burglary. You committed a burglary, and then you were caught with Adam. Adam testified you stole it. You have to pay kefil. No shvur necessary. If you were given it, let's say you found it, or you were given it as a pikadon, you're a shomer, and the owner came and said, "Where is it?" And you claimed that it was stolen. You claimed that it was burgled from you, and you swore. Then you have to swear. If you swear that it was burgled from you, and then you were caught, Adam came and said that you did it. You ate it, you stole it, then you also have to pay kefil. Now, when you pay keren chomesh v'asham, when you claim that it was lost or stolen, and then you admitted it on your own, after you swore to that effect in court, you admitted it on your own, then you pay keren chomesh v'asham. However, we learned in the last daf and previous to that when you pay kefil, you don't pay chomesh, meaning one's included in the other. If you pay kefil, you don't pay chomesh. That's how it works. Kefil is double. Chomesh is 25% or 20. Pardon? If you admit it, you bring a carbon. However, when you pay kefil, when there is an obligation to pay kefil, there is no chomesh there at all. The carbon is if you admitted it on your own. However, there are cases where you both admitted it and you were found to be a burglar. If both Adam came along, then you would pay the kefil. And you would possibly bring the carbon, but you wouldn't pay the fifth because the chomesh is included. You don't pay chomesh and kefil. That's excluded. You don't pay both. So Ravina has this kasha. Boy, Ravina raises this question. Chomesh and kefil betray gabi. Let's say the Torah said if you pay kefil, you don't pay the chomesh. That's included, so to speak. What happens if it's two different people? Chomesh and kefil betray gabi. What's the halacha there? What's the case? You gave your animal. To guard, to watch, to two people together. The Torah about Tanasgana. Then they didn't have it anymore. You claim, where is it? They said it was stolen. It was stolen. It was burgled. Chad Nishba, one swore to that effect. Behold, and then he was moda, which means that he's responsible for, right? Keren chomesh v'asham, right? Yes, Chad Nishba, and one swore ubo Adam, and then Adam came and said that he stole it. Or they stole it. Makes no difference. They stole it. He stole it. And Adam came. Now, for the first guy, he pays keren chomesh v'asham. The second guy swore that it was stolen, and Adam came and said he took it. So you pay kefil there. Do you say and when it comes to one person, if there's the same person involved, only one person. So the Torah said you don't pay chomesh and kefil. You only pay the kefil. But over here, the second guy pays kefil because he swore falsely and he didn't admit it, and Adam came and said he took it. And the other guy pays chumsha. Do you say that? In other words, when the Torah said you don't pay chomesh and kefil on the same, is it because of one person? For one monetary obligation, on one monetary obligation, one thing was missing, stolen, lost, whatever stolen. There, the Torah said you don't pay chomesh and kefil. But here is one monetary obligation that you have to pay. That's the question that he raises. Take on that question stands. The Torah, we've learned that you don't pay chomesh and kefil. So that's the question. Let's say it was two different guys. That's right. Makes up pretty well. Right. Because there are two people involved. Exactly. Makes up pretty well like that. Yeah. So that's the question. When don't you pay your chomesh and kefil? When it's only one person, or do you look at the one monetary obligation? Say even if it's two or three people, no, you don't do that. Now, boy, Rapapa, Trey Chumshi. I mean, you could take this further. Let's say there were three or four people that he gave it to. They wouldn't all, there was one kefil obligation, presumably for all of them together. Even if there would, right, you wouldn't. Or maybe the chomesh would be for each and everyone. This question could be expanded. He's not sure about it. Maybe the chomesh you pay because you swore falsely. That's like you bring the asham for that reason. So maybe you'd have to bring that too. But the kefil presumably is one kefil. If you gave it to 10 people, they don't each pay kefil. Presumably they all pay kefil together. I think we had that question before. Boy, rapapa trei chumshi o trei kfile. B'chad gavra. Okay. So let's say the Torah says you don't pay chomish and kefil. What about two chomishes or two kefils, right? By the same person who swore falsely each time Adam came. This sort of touches on what we just said. If it was a separate action, what's the case? What would you say there? First he asked boy Papa, what happens if you had two chomishes or two kefils? Now, the truth is we answered this question before because we had the other day that you swore falsely, you admitted it, then you swore falsely again, and you admit it each time you pay kefil. So you already have you bring a chomish vashim with each one. We had that before. Remember, you can pay chomish many times. Adds on. Not only if you deny the chomish, you swore false about the chomish, deny the whole thing. We had that case before. We're going to bring it up again. So you do. So the answer to this is already sort of resolved already. The first question: do you pay chomish and kefil? We said you don't pay chomish and kefil. What about if it's two different people? Now, what about it's the same person, but two kefils or two chomish b'chad gavramai with one person? Hechidam, what's the case? Gon shetan tainus avat. He claimed it was lost. Right? Benishba. Now, on the lost, you don't pay kefil, you pay keren b'chomish v'ashim if you admit it. So gon shetan tainus avad. He swore that it was lost. Benishba, he swore Bahoda, he was motive to that. B'chazar tan tainus avad Benishba. So here it's not even a question of kefil. It's a question: do you pay chomish twice? You admit it, even because you chomish the keren chomish v'ashim you pay on any admission, whether it was avad or burgled. Inami, or the question about kefil, you swore that it was stolen, right? Vinishman, you claimed that it was stolen. You swore to that effect. Ubo Adam, and Adam came b'chazra ton tainus. After Adam claimed and said you stole it, you claimed again that it was stolen from you. Adam claimed and said you contradicted the Adam, and you said again no, it was stolen. Vinishba, why would you do that? Tosas brings down that this whole case is a little bit problematic because in the case of that, once you were caught, it's already you're responsible for it anymore. The second one wouldn't work as well. So the question is a little bit strange. And the first the Tosas before that Tosas Dever Maskaltoin claims that we've already answered this question before, as we've seen that maybe the questions were asked independently. In any case, the question that comes up: could you be chayiv two chomishes twice for the same person be chayiv twice chomish or twice ganav? Ganav is a little bit more problematic. Even Tosas doesn't come up with a good answer. But let's say, in theory, could you have two times chomish or two times kefil on the same monetary obligation? Do you say the Torah says that two types of monetary restitutions you don't make, meaning you don't make chomish. Chomish is one kind of monetary restitution. Kefil is another one. We don't do that. So you don't do two different kinds. On one obligation, you don't pay two different kinds of restitution, meaning 25% and the kefil. But here it's one type of restitution. It's either the chomish or the kefil. You don't make two kinds of monetary restitutions on the same monetary obligation, no matter what. Even if they're the same kind. There's two different kinds of restitution. So we're going to bring a proof. The Amar Rava, we had this really in a different way before. Amar Rava Chamishiso Yosef Alav, Hatorah Ribsa, again, since he emphasized the Chamishiso, the extra 25% or 20%, depending how you look at it. Yosef Hatorah Ribsa Chamishiso Harba Lekaren Achas, even for one obligation, if you denied it, and then you denied it again, you admitted it, you denied it, you admitted it, you denied it, admitted it, denied it, admitted it, you got to pay 25% each time. So at least the Torah, at least the Gemara resolved it in terms of the chomish. Chomish can be played several times. Can you extrapolate from there and say kefil several times? Hard to do that because of Tosas points out that once you were found by the Edom, you swore that it was stolen, and they said no, you have it, so you have to pay kefil now. Now you swore again. That Chor would not make you kefil because now you're responsible for it. You return it plus the kefil. If you don't return it, you got to pay there's no kefil on that. Kefil wouldn't necessarily work. That's how Tosas understands it. But this case that we just brought down, you could bring Chamisha Yosef HaTorah Chamisha Savra. We really had that the other day on Friday. Ishbiel of Chamisha Pam and Bein Bezmish of Bezm Kofav Chayav Achzavs. We had that really before. Could have resolved it from that case too. Tavu Baal Mashomer. Let's say the owner, and what do we have here? We always have have a mafkid, that's the depositor, the person who gave his item, shore, or whatever, to the shomer to watch. And then he claimed, where is it? Tavu Ba'am, he claimed, made a claim to the shomer. Where is it? Vinishba. And the shomer swore that wasn't his fault, it's not here anymore, right? He swore, let's say, that it was stolen, not his responsibility, he's a shomer chinam. Vinishba. And then Vishilang, you know what he said? I don't want to get involved in this anymore. You're upset with me. I'm going to pay it off. I'd rather, I don't want to go to court. First, he swore, Tavu Ba'al the shomer. And the shomer says, it was stolen from me, legitimately. It wasn't my fault. It was stolen, burgled from me. I'm not responsible. But then afterwards, he sort of felt bad. He says, okay, look, it wasn't my fault, but I'm going to pay you anyway. And he paid him off. V'hukar Ganef. And now the Ganef was identified. They found the Ganef. The third person, right? In other words, he really was telling the truth. The shomer says it was burgled for me. I didn't, I did everything I could. I was a shomer. I wasn't irresponsible, wasn't negligent. It was burgled in the middle of the night. Somebody came and took it. Not my fault. But you know what? So he swore to that effect, and then he paid him off anyway. So I'll pay you. I don't want you to be upset with me. I paid him. Then the ganef was identified, right? Now, when the ganef is identified, you have to pay kefil, right? Even if in this case there was really a ganef, it wasn't a claim of ganef and the shomer was the ganef, in which case he has to swear to it. There was a real ganef. There's a real ganef. He pays kefil as soon as Adam say that he was the ganef. All right, so it's ganef. Now, who does he pay the kefil to? Kefil and me. Who would you think he pays the kefil to? The guy who paid it, the shomer, right? You have the mafkid and the shomer. So you think he was, so two different ways to look at it. Abaya says, Labala, because no, the mafkid still gets it. Obviously, he'd have to return the money that he paid to the shomer, right? The basic amount that the shomer paid, let's call it $100, the Karen, but the $200, the extra 100, who would get that? So Abaya says the owner gets it, the mafkid. Why? Why? Because he didn't say right away. The shomer, as soon as the claim was made to the shomer didn't say, okay, here's the money. I'll pay you right now. He made him go to court, made him take him to court, and in court he swore that it was stolen. So since he made him go to court, the owner's not willing to give up his claim on the kefil. Okay, I went to court. You swore you swore that it wasn't your fault. Okay, then you paid me off. But you paid me off, it's still my item. I'm gonna make the claim against the burglar. When they found the burglar, the burglar, he wants to get the 200. He wants to get the kefil. Since he troubled him, he troubled the shomer, troubled the owner, took him to court, and he swore in court that he wasn't negligent, that it was stolen. The owner's not willing, so to speak, to give up his claim on the kefil if the actual burglar was found. In other words, what happened over here? He said, you stole, where's my item? The guy says it was stolen. I don't believe you. They go to court. And in court, the shomer swears that it was really burgled from him. So, but the owner is still upset because he doesn't have his item. The guy swore. Then they find the ganef afterwards. The kefil goes to the owner because you made me go to court. Had you paid me off right away, I would have said, okay, it's yours. But you didn't do that. Rav Amar no, Lamisha Netzlo. Rav looks at it the way you looked at it. The shomer, the one who was holding on to the show, was guarding the item. Keeping the shila, and since he paid maklik fela, since he paid for it, once he paid for it, it's like you go into a store, you broke it, you bought it, you paid for it, he owns it. It's his. The obligation is now to him, and he gets the kefil. So there's a machlokas here, Abai Rav. Abai says the mafki gets it. Rava says that the shomer gets it. The kamifki, but you can masnisin, and they argue really in the implication of a mission that we have in Bava Metzia that we're going to quote here right now. That's not you deposited something, with a shomer, an animal or vessels or whatever, and they were stolen, they were burgled, or they were lost. Shilem below ritzalish. But listen to this language here. If the shomer decided to pay and he didn't want to swear, I don't want to swear anything. They were stolen or lost, not my fault. But you know what? I'm just going to pay, and he doesn't want to swear. He can fulfill his obligation just by swearing that he wasn't negligent, that it was stolen or lost. he could fulfill his obligation, but he didn't want to take advantage of that way out, and he just paid for it. Nimsa ganef, now they found the ganef. And if the ganef also tavach, if he slaughtered it or sold it, pays 4 or 5. That's low. It's the one he pays to the shomer. Pays to the shomer this case. Now, this sounds like Rava, right? Rava says the shomer gets it. Let's see. Let's understand. Nishba v'lo ratza l'sham. Let's say the other way around. He didn't pay it off. He just, I'm not going to pay. I wasn't negligent. It was stolen or lost. Nishba v'lo ratza l'sham. He swore to that. They found the ganef. The sham tashlum kefil pays kefil. Tavach sham tashlum pays dal b'hei l'mishalim. The bala b'kod. He pays to the owner. Abaya daik meresha. Abaya makes his deduction from the resha. Why? Because we'll see what that means in a second. Abaya daik meresha, Rava daik miseifa. Abaya daik meresha, from the resha we say over there that what? That who you pay the nifgat, the shomer, the tani shilem below ratza lishba. He says if he paid because he didn't want to swear, if he paid he didn't want to say, then the shomer gets it. Tam lo ratza because he didn't want to swear. Nishba, but in this case, our case, where he first swore that it was stolen or lost, then they found, and then he paid. Nishba, if he swore, afal pisha shilem, even though he paid, why? Because he's matriach, the owner, to go to court and all that to make the claim. That's how Abaya makes that implication. Rava daik meseifa, he learns from the seifa, he deduces from the seifa, right? The Ketani we learned, nishba v'lo ras l'sham. The seifa said if he swore because he didn't want to pay. Then who gets it? The owner gets it. Time because he didn't want to pay. Hashilem, but if at the end he paid, even though he swore, says he paid the Mishal Nishba. That's a question how you die. So Labaya Kasha Seifa. What's Labaya going to do with the Seifa, which says what? Nishba v'lo l'shalem. If he swore, it goes to the Nishba v'lo l'shalem. He goes to the owner, to the mafkid. But if he wanted to pay Hashilem, but if he must pay, even though he swore, who would get it? The shomer would get it since he paid. What's a buyer going to do with the seifa? That's how you have to learn the seifa. If he swore first and he didn't want to pay first, yes. If he paid first, then I agree. But if he swore first before he made him take him to court. He took the owner to court. He said, I deny it. And he made it, and then he swore in court. He didn't want to swear first, even though he swore afterwards. Even though he paid afterwards, but he didn't want to pay before. He first swore. He didn't want to pay before he made the shvua. Hey, at the end he paid after the shvua, but since he took him to court, the goes to the owner, to the mafkid. The Rava kasha reisha. With Rava, you're going to have a diak from the reisha. What was a bias diak from the reisha? Because it says shilim below rotza lishba, right? Shilim below rotza lishba. He didn't want to swear. Hanishba, if he swore, afapisha shilim, even though he paid. What's Rava going to do with that diak? The Rava kasha reisha. That's how you have to learn the reisha. Shilim below rotza lamed bishvaso. In other words, he swore first. And if he paid and he didn't want to stand with his shvur, then ela shilem, and he paid after the misham misha netzlo. Why? Because he didn't pay first. When you say over here that if he paid and he didn't want to swear, it goes to the what did the Reisha say? The Reisha said shilem. Shilem below rotzel lishba. So how does it? So you say over there. The Shilam Ratzah time, so Abaya said why the reason is because he didn't want to swear, right? Shilam below Ratzah Lishba, time below Ratzah Lishba, on Nishba, but if he would swear off Bisha Shilam Misham Baal Bakad, once he made him swear. But Rava will say no, that he had sworn before. Rava Kasharasham Rava Shilam if he paid below Ratzah Mishvaso, but he had made a shvur before. If he had sworn before, then Rava's right. Rava would say, and if he paid first, then the Shomer gets to keep it. But if he swore first, and what does it mean? Shilim below Rasa Lishba, right? Shilim below Rasa Lishba, below Rasa Lama Bishvas. He didn't want to stand on his earlier shvua, but now after he made the shvua, he decided El Shilim. Once he been Mishal Misha Netzlo. Why? Because he had sworn first. So here, that's the issue over here. If you gave your pekad to somebody, and afterwards he claimed it was stolen, and he paid for it, and he didn't swear, right? So what happens over there? So depends how you learn the case. That's the Abaye says, who gets to make the claim on the kefa when they find the ganaf afterwards? That's the question. Abaye says it goes to Lavala Bikadan. Why? Because you made him swear. You made him swear, so he didn't want to give up his claim. Rava says no. Since he paid, that's good enough. Once you paid, that's good enough. The Mishnah versus Mashma that if you paid, it still goes to Lavala Bikadan. That's where you swore first. But if you paid immediately, Rava would say if you paid right away and you didn't make the guy swear, then you'd get to keep the kefil. So Tavu Ba'am Lashon V'Nishba V'Shil Boker Ganaf Kefil and me. Abaye says the gospel about the code. Why? Because he made him swear. Rava says no. Even though you swore, but since you paid eventually, that's good enough. So why? Because like Rava said, even the shilei maklik fail. Once you paid for it, that's good enough. And the brisa or the Mishnah is not really a kasha on Rava because he says that shilei means after he swore he didn't want to stand by his ring, but he paid anyway. Then you say that. So then he would get to keep it. In other words, if you paid, even though you swore, but eventually you paid, according to Rava, it goes to the shomer. Meaning you paid for it, it's like you bought it, and now the claim of kefil will be the kefil would go to the shomer and not to the baal b'kon. So that's machlokas Abaye and Rava. Another case, tavu baalim. We're about 10 lines down now, and I'm at base. Tavu baalim shomer. The Balaam, the owner, claimed to the shomer, "Where's my item?" V'nishba, and he swore that it was stolen, whatever. V'hokar ganaf, and the ganaf was identified. Now, once they identified him, they said, "Okay, that's the guy." Tavu shomer, the shomer now went. The shomer who had sworn that it was really stolen from Tavu shomer, v'hoda, and he was moded to the shomer. Moded to the shomer. Is that a good hodah? Then Tavu Balaam, and then the owner also claimed from him, and he denied it. They ate him and they brought him. Now, here's the question. You pay kefil or not? You pay kefil. Now, right?
Who was to the shomer, not to the Balaam.
Exactly. He went to the shomer. Tavu shomer. When he went to the shomer, he was moted to the shomer, so he doesn't pay kefil. So you pay keren l'chomesh, right? But you don't pay kefil, right? And in this case, it's not even a case where it's not even keren l'chomesh because he didn't swear anything over here. They found the ganaf. The question is, would the ganaf pay? Would the ganaf have to pay kefil or not? And who would he pay to? Hooker, ganaf tavu l'shomer, v'hod, and he was moted for the shomer. Okay, tavu b'aylam, but when the owner made the claim, after the shomer had already absolved himself by swearing, right? So now he denied it. The ganaf denied it, and then he brought him. Me nifter. In other words, it's like the ganaf said to the shomer, "Yeah, I did take it from you." But when the owner came to him, he says, "No, I didn't steal it." And then they found that he was lying. Is the ganaf potter from kefil or not? Me nifter haganaf. Yeah, pay for it, yes. But what is there kefil involved? Because he was moted to the shomer. See, moted b'kanas is potter. If you catch a ganaf, right, before he's come to court, he doesn't deny it, and he says, "Yeah, I did burgle it from you." Okay, he's got to return it, right? Like a goslin, there's no kefil. Kefil is when he denies it, and the Adam claim and prove that he's a liar. And they force him to pay. So for here, the guy was moted to the shomer. When the owner claimed it from him, then the ganaf denied it. And then the Adam came, and the Adam would be mechayev and kefil. But he already admitted it to the shomer. Does that count? That's the difference. Huh? Pardon? He's willing to pay now. He didn't pay the shomer. He didn't pay the shomer. Or let's say he paid the shomer. It doesn't make any difference. He might have paid the shomer the original amount. But he was moted to the shomer, right? He was moted to the shomer. Now the question is, would he have to pay kefil though for denying it to the Balaam? So tavu Balaam b'kofar v'viyuedim. Me nifter aganav shomer by being moted to the shomer. Makes sense if he paid apparently or didn't pay. He's moted that he owes it. That's what but he was moted to the shomer, but he wasn't moted to the Balaam. Oh, no nifter aganav shomer or not. Rava. So Rava says like this. This question was raised. So Rava says in be'emes nishba, if the shomer was telling the truth. Meaning it turns out he was really telling the truth. It was really burgled from him. That means that the owner trusts the shomer, and the shomer is still, like, so to speak, working for him. So therefore, when the shomer made the claim to the ganaf and the ganaf admitted it, then he's potter, nifter ganaf, because he was moted to the shomer. The shomer is still the representative of the owner. Right? And if he was lying, it really wasn't stolen from him. It was his obligation. It was his mistake. Whatever, he was negligent. If he was lying, right? Let's say he says, let's say the animal died on its own, or there was an accident, or it was taken from me, by force, and then they found that it wasn't. It's simply that he's a liar. Now we would know that the guy wouldn't trust him, and he's not really representing the owner anymore. If the ganav is not put from kefil. In other words, the claim when the shomer came to him and said, "You stole it from me," the shomer was a liar. He wasn't representing the owner anymore, and therefore, when the ganav was moded to him, that doesn't count. And then when he was denied it from the balam, he would be chayv kefil. That's what Rava says. Boy, Rava himself asked the question. Let's say he was about to swear falsely, but they didn't let him swear. His family said, "Don't swear, don't swear." He didn't swear. Now, what would you say there? It says if he swore falsely, then he doesn't represent the owner anymore. And if the ganav denied it to the owner, and then the Adam came and said, "You stole it," death by kefil, right? But what happens if he was about to swear? He didn't actually swear yet, so he's not a liar yet. Since he didn't swear, he's still considered a trusted to the trustee of the owner. The owner trusts him. He's not believed anymore. That question, he says, stands. That's how Rav asked the question. That's how he learned. Rav asked the question. Daf Yomi, apparently, who didn't hear Rav's first answer, said, "Boy, Rav if he actually swore falsely, what would you say there?" So he says that says teku, but we already said before that Rav said if he swore falsely, he wouldn't be a trustee anymore. So apparently, the way Rav Yomi heard the question, he didn't understand the first part. Tavu Baal Shomer. Again, let's say another similar case where a Baalim, the owner, asked the Shomer, "Where's my item that I gave you?" B'shilem, and he paid. He didn't swear. He didn't swear. He just paid it right off the bat. Vukra Ganav. Now they identified the Ganav. Tavu Baalim. Now the owner made the claim. He was moted to the owner. The reverse. He was moted to the owner. But over here, when you paid for it right away, no, you didn't swear at all, right? You didn't swear. The owner asked a claim from him, and he says, "Well, I didn't take it, but I'm not going to swear. I'm paying you off right away." And then the owner acted on behalf of the shomer, who's actually, who's really, he paid for it already. The owner made a claim from the ganav that was now identified Vahoda, and he was Moda. And then the shomer made a claim because shomer's really like the owner now because he paid for it right away. But kafar, maybe and they brought Adam. Nifr ganav malo. The question is like in reverse. Would the ganav be put from being kefil because of the admission to the owner? Oh, lo. Me, I'm going to say matzi amalei shomer labam. Shomer could tell labam, "Listen, atun kishlu dummy. What are you involved in here anymore? You asked me for the item. You gave me a shore. You asked me where's the shore. I paid you right away. You're out of it." Right? You took your money. You were totally out. You're out of the picture anymore. You have no claim. What are you making a claim for on my behalf? I don't care that he was moted to you. It's not yours anymore. Or we could tell him no. Just like what? You did something for me. In other words, the owner could say, "Listen, you did me a favor because when I made a claim, you didn't make any defense. You paid me right away. We also want to help you out. Tachina and Basar Ganfa. We want to go trouble ourselves and try to get the money back from the Ganav. Since you were such a nice guy and you paid me right away, you shomer, I figured I'll do you a favor too, right? Shakil na'ana didan, we'll take ours, right? V'shakil atidachi, you take yours, and we already got ours. You paid us for the animal. Now we'll get the money back for you. Take where this question stands. In other words, these complicated questions when he paid him off, and then they each made a claim against the Ganav. Yeah. Ganav would have to pay. That's the question. Would the Ganav have to pay kefil or only pay for the item itself? In both cases, in all these cases, that's the question. Is there an obligation? The Ganav was moted to one person, one of the parties, and to the other party he denied it. And then Adam came and said that he stole it. So would the admission to the other party, either to the owner in this case or in the previous case to the shomer, would that have an effect or not? So Rav in the first case said, well, it depends if the shomer is still the trustee or not. But over here, there's no trustee anymore. The shomer is done because he paid for the item right away. The owner said, "Where's my item?" The shomer paid him right away. Now, then the Ganaf was identified, and the Balaam went to the to the owner, to the Ganaf, and said, "You have the item," and he was moda. Then, when the shomer came to the item, he came to the Ganaf denied it, and the Adam came and said he actually stole it. So if he stole it, it's not even talking about a shvur on the part of the Ganaf because he actually stole it, and there's Adam that he stole it. He'd have to pay kefil. Yes, but he could say, "I already admitted to the owner who owned the item. I already admitted to him." That's the question: will you pay kefil or not? Obviously, he's to pay back the item itself or the value of the item. But yeah,
the unstated question here seems to me is the role of Bezdin. You know, when somebody comes and makes a shur, the shur has to be for Bezdin.
Right.
And it's not the owner; it's the shomer. You know, shouldn't Bezdin say, wait a minute, let's get all the parties here?
Yeah.
And I mean, none of this is discussed.
Yeah, it's not discussed because that's apparently it doesn't make any difference. That's the issue. Yeah. No, because it wouldn't make any difference. In other words, he's out of the picture. Like he makes a claim this, but it still was really his item. So is when you paid it off right away. So is the Baal out of the picture? And therefore it's like any other person in the street. No, I understand.
But the shur has to be for Bezdin. Bezdin, they know the rules.
Right.
Why did the ambiguity?
The shvur is to be in the Bezdin, but the hodah doesn't necessarily have to be in front of the Bezdin. Understand? So they could be out of Bezdin. They finished the court. Now he was moda afterwards, or they found the ganaf. You know, when they found the ganaf and he was moda to this person. So does that mean he doesn't pay kefil because it's not the Adam who brought him or not? And you're right that it was in court. The original shvur took place in court, but and when he has to swear. When they bring the Adam come, that's also brought in court eventually. But if he was moted to the Baalim in between, would that absolve him from that? That's the question. You're right. It's not that the court, we're not looking at the court, it's simply it wouldn't make any difference. Itmar, Nignava ba'onis. Let's say it was forcibly stolen, meaning that's called an ones. A burglary or a robbery or playing robberies without force. A robbery is, you took it right in front of the guy or you burgled it at night. But ones, if he was like what we call list of Mizuyan, like, let's call it armed robbery, right? Itmar Nigma ba'ones, Vukar Ganaf, and then they identified the Ganaf. Now, a Shomer Chinim is potter on Gneva and Aveda. A Shomer Sacher is Chayv and Gneva Aveda, but he's potter on onsen, on accidents or force, something was forced to be taken away. Here was forced to be taken away, and they found the Ganaf. Amrabaya. Im Shomer Chinim, if he's a Shomer Chinim, the Shomer Chinim is an option. Ratza Osim, as he did, he could either take him to court, he could either take the Ganaf to court if he so chooses. Ratza Nishba, or he could swear and say, "Listen, I'm out of it. I wasn't negligent. Wasn't even stolen. It was an armed robbery." So he has a choice. That's what the case of a Shomer Chinim. Im Shomer Sacher, here's the Chiddush. A Shomer Sacher who's Chayv and can even have everybody's potter on Onsen, and this was Onsen, he has to take him to court. Osim Odin Bein Nishba. Even though that's the Chiddush. That's the Chiddush. That Osim Odin, Rashi points out a little bit below. Afagav the potter ballistim zoyin. Even though a Shomer Sacher is potter if it was armed robbery against him. Hachahov, we're going to, since the Ganaf is known now, and he won't be anything, he won't lose anything by taking him to court. He's a known Ganaf. Therefore, he says the Shomer Sacher has an obligation to deal with the Ganaf. He's got to take him to court and recover the money or the item or what the value of the item. As of Enish, we can't get off by swearing, even though normally Shomer Sacher just has to swear that it was armed robbery and he's potter. Only a shoel is chayiv on onsen, but a Shomer Sacher is potter on onsen. But over here, if the Ganaf was identified, says the Tanakam over here, says that the Shomer Sacher has to deal with him. Rav Amar echazeh bechazeh, even a Shomer Chinam, whether it's a Shomer Sacher or Shomer Chinam, osa midin ve'nishba. Once the Ganaf was identified, even a Shomer Chinam who's potter on Geneva, on simple Geneva, he only has to show that he wasn't negligent. Even there, he has to deal with the Ganaf since it's known. That's their chiddush. That's what Abaya said. Abaya the Tanakama said. Shomer Chinam has a choice. He could just swear and tell the owner to deal with it. A Shomer Sacher has to prosecute the Ganaf. Rava says both of them have to prosecute him. Lema pliga Ravuna Barabin. So Rava is arguing not only with Abaya, but also with Ravuna Barabin. The Shalach Ravuna Barabin, Nignav Abon, is the same case. It was stolen by armed robbery. and they identify the ganav. He has a choice. He either can swear and tell the owner to deal with him, or he could prosecute the ganav himself. He doesn't have a choice. He has to prosecute the ganav himself, which is really what Abaye said. So Rava disagrees with Rav Huna bar Abba. That's different. That's a different case over there. That's where he originally swore, right? He originally swore. If he swore first that it was stolen from him, then he's got to deal with it. Had he, right? When he first swore, Rashi says, before the ganaf was identified, he swore already that it was armed robbery, that it wasn't his fault. Before there was a ganaf there, then you could say that a shomer chinam has a choice of making a shvur or dealing with him, and a shomer sachar doesn't. But this business about that he says that Rava says that a shomer chinam has no choice, he must deal with him. That's where he didn't swear that the ganaf was identified before he swore. It says if he wants to make a deal with him, or he could swear, it's mashma that he hasn't sworn yet. So he could stand on his original shvua and say, I'm not dealing with the ganaf, you deal with the ganaf, I swore already. But if he hadn't sworn yet, then he doesn't have an option. Then Rava says there's no option, he must deal with the ganaf. Rabba, that was his name, Rabba Zuti, the younger one or the smaller one, Boile, he asked this question. Here's an interesting one. Nigneva bonus. Let's say the mafkid gave a shore to a shomer to watch, and it was forcibly taken away from him. Nigneva bonus. It was armed robbery. The hichser ganav b'bei shomer. The ganaf returned it. The ganaf returned it to the house of the shomer. Umeisa b'pshia. And now the shomer was negligent. After it was returned to him, was negligent. Apparently, you have to understand that he knew it was returned to him. If he didn't know it was returned to him, it can't be pshia. It was returned to Mao. Mirman, do you say keeping the nignav ba'onus since it was forcibly taken away from him? So he's done. I'm out. He's out of the picture. It was forcibly taken away from me. He calls him up, says, "You know what? You gave me this item to watch. There were armed robbers came and took it away. He's out of the picture now." Odil Mekiva the Hadra. Once he returned, did he return the Hadra? Once he returned to Hadra Shema, so the Shemir is still the Shomer is still obligated to watch it. And the shomer would be responsible for it since there was pshia. Shomer chinam chayvin pshia. Take what this question stands also. So these are interesting questions relating to shomer. Hechem Piktoni says the Mishnah. Pardon?
General question. Let's say that someone goes to the basement and they rule against him, okay? And so
what was the case?
It doesn't matter. Does the basement have the power to force the decision? Let's say to
enforcement, like Hotzah B'fal. Yeah. Of course they do. They have bailiffs. There's baileys and there's bailiffs. They have bailiffs. So they enforcement. The guy that's what we call modern Hebrew Hotzah B'fal. They had things there too. They could force them. Go take it. They could destroy upon his property. Put a claim on a property, etc., etc. Sure, they could. Hechem Piktoni. So the mafkid tells the shomer, "Where's the pikadon? I gave you so much. Amalo of it. It was lost." We have this Mishnah many times before already. This is just really a repeat, but we referred to this Mishnah. I make you swear. He says, "Yeah, I swear. I swear that it was lost." Remember, when you say it was lost, there's no case, right? Adam say that you stole it yourself. He didn't claim it was burgled. He claimed it was lost. And then the Adam came and say, "You ate it yourself. You actually stole it because you ate it." Misham Karen, right? He only pays the Karen. Right? He wasn't Moda. Hodami asked if he was Moda by himself. Misham Karen b'chomish Rashim. Pays that's Karen chomish Rashim, right? If basically he said it was lost and he was lying, he actually took it himself. He's got to pay for it. That's all the Adam could do, make him pay for it. But if he was Moda on his own, then he pays the Karen and the chomish and the Asham for lying. Okay. Hechem Piktoni. And again, it's interesting that the 25% or 20% and this is only when you admit it, because it says he's got to be Moda. He's not Moda. Let's say it was a different case where he claimed it was burgled. Hechem Piktoni says, "Where's my pikadon? Amalo nig never was burgled from me. Mashbiach, you swear? I'm making you swear. But they said he was the one who stole it. Misham Tashlumi Kefil, that's Kefil, that's we've talked about before, that's Toin Tainus Ganav, and he swore to that effect in court, and they found that he was life-based Kefil. Hodame Atzmo, let's say the Adam did weren't Mechayev him, he was mowed himself, even though he claimed that it was burgled, he was mowed himself. Hodame Atzmo Sham Ken B'chomish V'asam. Okay, now like another mission which really isn't related to that. Goes al Tzava. This person stole something from his father. Vinish below, and he swore that he didn't steal it. Umeis, the father died. If he wasn't moda before, after the father died, then he was moda. Okay, Meis. Hareza Mishalim Karen B'chomish, pays the Chomish, takes out the word Osham. Rashi doesn't have the word Osham over here. There's no Osham over here. Okay, because the father, there's no Osham. But he pays the Karen B'chomish. Now, Lebanav, our mission says the word Osham there, but he takes it out. Who pays the Lebanav? Who's Lebanav? The Pashut and Rashi and Tosfos says that Lebanav is the sons of his father, meaning those would be his brothers. Ola Echav, or if there were no other sons besides himself, we go to the father's brothers. Okay, what do you mean pays? What about his share? Father died now, part of it is his. Let's say he stole $100 from his father, right? And he had two brothers, right? So the father died, he'd only have to pay $66, 66 and change, and the other 30 he can keep himself. No, but it's not a proper hashava. Since he stole and he denied it, to make a proper return, he's got to return the whole thing to the brothers. And then maybe get a share from them afterwards. But he's got to return the whole thing. Imena wrote, so let's say he doesn't want to give the money, he doesn't want to give the whole amount because he needs the $33 himself. Osha Aino, he doesn't have the money. What he could do is pays the whole thing. Lova, he borrows $33, let's say, from somebody else. They'll come and take it from the estate. They will go cut his share, they go because he really owns it, but he's got to make restitution. Rashi points out, we can Rashi in the wide lines. Even though he's also entitled to a third of it, let's say, they have to boil even though he's entitled to, let's say, a third, but he's got to make a push-up. He can't even hold back. He can't say, I stole $100, yeah, but Pop is dead now, so I'm only going to give you guys the 66. I'm not going to pay my share. I'm going to keep my share. No, he's got to put the whole thing to make a proper hashava. And let's say he doesn't have what to pay, or he's afraid he's going to lose his share, so he could borrow his share from somebody else, right? And keep that, eat that third, pay back what he stole, borrow it from the 30 from themselves, and then to pay back the balichov, the creditors will go after his third from the estate. That's that. A similar case where we talk here where he doesn't have what he doesn't want to pay it out of his own assets. A man says to his son, listen to this. He forbids him to have any pleasure from me. Sometimes there are family fights. It's rare, but there's sometimes family fights, and the father forbids the son to have any pleasure from him. No pleasure. Okay, he does it the proper, shmua. It should be any pleasure you have from me should be like a carbon. You can't have any enough from me. In mace, and then the father dies. Yerushalayim. Then the shvua, the neder that he took, has no effect. Why? Because after death, once you die, you don't own anything. Everything is so if the son is having enough from the Yerusha, he's not having it from his father because he inherits it. He says you can't have any pleasure from the father. The father says you can't have any pleasure from me. But once he's dead, he's not getting pleasure from the father. He's getting pleasure from his own estate. Okay, let's say the son says, we had the same mission in the Durham. That's really what the source is. B'chayev, as Rabbi had just brought down because of the way because how you pay it back. But it's not the proper place isn't here in Baba Kama. It's in the Durham where the mission is over there. So he said, let's say B'chayev Moshe, let's say the father tells him, I don't want you to have any pleasure from my assets, both while I'm alive and after I'm dead. When he just said, you can't have any pleasure from me, fine. But after he's dead, he's not having pleasure from the father. He's having pleasure from the estate, which belongs to him now. He said, B'chayev Avumoso, in mace, if the father dies, no, lo Yerushenu. Now, what does it mean, lo Yerushenu? It doesn't really mean he can't get the Yerusha, because the Yerusha is automatic minat Torah, unless there's a will otherwise giving it away before death. He really does get it. But Yachshel Lebanav, what he has to do is, the Yerusha basically has to return to the other sons of his father or to the father's brothers, and then get it from that. The Mainlo, again, the same idea. That's why it's brought down over here, obviously. Mainlo, if this son who was forsworn from having enough from his father has no assets to pay it back, he needs the money himself. If him ain't low, or he doesn't want to, love again, he can borrow money. In other words, the idea here is that even though technically he gets the Yerusha, but he didn't want to have anything directly from this. And ain't low, my yochi doesn't want the love of from an Yerusha as chalko. In other words, what he's saying is the Yerusha technically really belongs to him because it's automatic, right? Guy dies, he left over sons, the sons get it automatically. But he has a mitzvah to listen to his father. His father said, I don't want you to have any pleasure even after I die. So he can't take the Yerusha directly. Can't take the Yerusha directly because he didn't steal anything over here. He says you can't have any enough from my Yerusha. So he can't have Yerusha directly, but he wants to get some of the money. So he needs money. So what should he do? He's got to lo Yerusha be yachstu lebanav, and if there was any money there, it should go to the other children, the other heirs. Let's call that. But if he needs money, the main low, he could borrow money. He could borrow money and tell the creditors collect it from the Yerusha that he is entitled to go to the lawyers, get it from the estate. Meaning he's not getting so he's not taking the money directly. The father said you can't have any enough from my money before I'm alive or after death. Here he's not getting it directly from the father, but he's just saying that his creditors, you guys go collect it from the estate. So since he's not taking it directly from them, he's absolved. He's okay.
It's like a verbal will.
It's like a verbal will, right. Well, again, he didn't do. If his father would have said, right before I die, I'm giving it all to the charity fund, you're right, and he wouldn't be his at all. But the point is that the Yerusha is effective, that he really owns it, but he can't have any enough from it. He can tell his creditors, you go collect my share there. He can't take it directly. But you're right, because the Yerusha takes an effect. The way wills work halachically, whether you write it halachically or not, the understanding is that you meant to give it away, you went to do halacha. The way wills work is that you're giving it away basically before you die. That's how the wills work. Even, it's proper today to have write it exactly the way the lashon should be. That before I die, it should go to the wife or the kids or to somebody else. You want to split evenly if you don't want the rules of the Torah, which give everything to the sons and give a bechor his share, double share, and all that. You don't want that to be effective. You write a will. Even if you didn't write it halachically, the Mefarshim say, the rabbis say that you meant to do it that way, and that's good enough if there is a will. But if there's no will, it's a problem. I can't tell you how many people die without a will, and there's other issues that get involved there. The usual issue comes up is that it doesn't. The laws in this country and also in many states in America is that doesn't go to the kids. It's split between 50% to the spouse, if there's a spouse, and 50% to all the other heirs. And cases are never solved because they can't find all the heirs. It's very, very complicated. Not good.
First it goes into probate, and we spend months.
Right, that's what we've been going through. Which I didn't tell you, Rumi. I don't know if your mother's entitled. I don't know.
I know. I sent an email to the lawyer. We'll talk. We'll see what happens.
Okay. Oh, you did good. Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Because
You want to hear an interesting story?
Probate was done for.
There's a guy here named Wiesel. He wanted to buy the apartment.
And I assume the Gottesfelds are doing the same thing, right?
Well, I have to speak to Sharon. She has to get apostille. It's not so palm street in New York, but we'll do it. There's a guy who wanted to buy the apartment.
No, I think wasn't probate done for Hannah, for your grandmother?
Yes, so it's but not for Ellie.
Huh? Oh, no, that's as far as your shares, but as far as your mother, I'm talking about.
My mother's fine. It's my father's problem.
But for your mother, she just has to give her bank account.
That's it. So I have to tell him. I have to find out.
But for your father's share, you'd have to do the pastille both for your father and for Ellie, and do probate here in Israel for both of them.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to pay for you guys.
No.
It's not going to pay. But for your mother, all she has to do is give her bank account.
I sent the guy a thing, and I just have to figure out how to send it to him. That's all. We'll talk.
Good. I would appreciate if you would forward me what you sent him. So because
I just send a question. Give me send me a secure way to send you the information. I have no idea. I don't want to send him a text. It's just banking information.
Send him an email. That's fine.
Banking information in email. I don't send banking.
Yeah. That's fine. Nobody can take your money. Don't worry. No problem with that. You can
I'll just send him. That's it. Very good. No problem.
Send me and give me a copy, whatever you email him.
No.
Have a good day.
Have a good day. Thanks a lot, friend. Beautiful.